Week 5 is in the books. Here's the weekly recap from some of the games this week. We have the Indianapolis Colts struggling against the Oakland Raiders. We see Matt Ryan coming away with a tight victory here in Week 5, moving the Raiders to 4-1. Then you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Seattle Seahawks. And so in this game, we had the Seattle Seahawks falling in a shootout match between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Seattle. Gabbert was able to come away with the victory, 40-34. Both teams are 3-2. Then we got the Washington Commanders taking on the Los Angeles Chargers, or the San Diego Chargers. They haven't moved yet in this reality. But here we go. Aaron Rodgers rolling outside, throwing deep, and it's caught there by the tight end who runs in for the touchdown. Rodgers with 4 touchdowns in this game. Luke Stalker there with the touchdown. There he is, just showing off, doing a little dance. And then the Thursday night game was the 49ers taking on the Los Angeles Rams. And so here we go with this Thursday night football game. That's DeMarco Murray with a huge run, spinning around, breaking tackles. We see a 24-10 victory. 49ers and the Dolphins stay 5-0. And this is the weekly recap. All right, everybody. So we are now in Week 6. So let's go ahead and do a small breakdown of the rest of the league here. So if we look at some of the stats, well, let's go down to the breakdown here. So Miami is number 1. They're 5-0, and the Patriots got a win last time, so they're now 2-3, tied with the rest of the division. Now this division is pretty stacked, so the fact that they're all 2-3 is rough. Then we see the Browns and the Bengals ahead in the AFC North. Pittsburgh had a bye week last time, and the Ravens in their first game with newly acquired Peyton Manning lost last week, so they went 2-3. They're in the bottom of the division. We'll see if Manning is able to turn around the Ravens. Then you have number 2, Las Vegas Raiders, they're still technically Oakland, and they are 4-1. They are the second seed. They're ahead of the 3-2 Chargers and Chiefs. And then Denver is down there 1-4. Right now, Houston, led by Michael Vick, is 3-2. Kirk Cousins, 3-2 with the Indianapolis Colts. Jacksonville fell to 2-3, and then the Tennessee Titans are 1-4. They got the win against the Cardinals last week. Now we're just switching over to the NFC division. And so as you can see here, we have number 1 is the San Francisco 49ers in the West. Seattle, that was keeping up with them, is now 3-2, so they've fallen 2 games behind. Rams are 2-3. Cardinals are having a really rough go at it. They have a pretty solid team, but they're just not coming through with winning games. Then we have number 2 is Dallas, but Dallas is tied with a 3-2 NFC East. Every team is 3-2, so we'll see how some of these inter-division matchups change up the rankings. But as of now, they're 2-8 in the league. Third seed is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We see Atlanta, who had a bye week last week. They got rid of Peyton Manning, and now they have Jimmy Garoppolo, who had a week to kind of get his feet under him, and now he's going to have a game this coming week in Week 6. But also we got the Saints and the Panthers, who are 2-3. Green Bay currently is a half game ahead in the North. They also had a bye week, and so they also have Detroit half game behind them with 2-3. The Vikings 2-3. And the Bears 1-3. When we look at some of the league leaders, this is the basic overview. I'll probably go to the actual stats and show you more depth. We're not going to do it here. So, we have some upcoming games this week, which are going to be interesting. We got Pittsburgh and Cleveland. I mean, if Pittsburgh wins, that'll move them a half game ahead of Cleveland. We've got the, what other interesting games? The Eagles and Giants taking on Thursday Night Football. We've got... see if the Cardinals can get their first win against the Colts. 49ers take on Tampa Bay. That'll be a good one. And let's see. Yeah, and so some decent games coming up. Now what we're going to do now is go to the stats, league leaders. We're going to move all the way up here to pass for the league. So it's McNabb, Ryan, Manning, Newton, Smith, top 5. Then we have Rodgers, Cousins, Gabbert, Brady, and Stafford rounding up the top 10. Stafford just 8 yards away from being 1,000 yards. When we look at touchdown leaders, it's Stafford, Rodgers, Carr, McNabb, and Newton rounding up the top 5. Mariota, the rookie, has 10. Alex Smith, 10. And Ryan, 11. So they're in double digits already. Interception leaders is Andy Dalton. Makes sense. Derek Anderson, who was replaced by Peyton Manning, had 9 interceptions. But we see Manning now having 8 interceptions, which is not great. Flacco, 8. And Derek Carr, the sophomore, all 8 interceptions. And then we look at rushing. We got Johnson, Best, quarterback, Terrell Pryor, Richardson, and McCoy in the top 5. Let's see, only 3 of them are... we got Chris Johnson's almost to 700 yards in 5 games played, so that's pretty cool. Also, you look at that touchdown number. That's pretty crazy. So 15 touchdowns. This is crazy. He is a cheat code, I can tell you that. So let's do season stats. He's had 2, 4, 3, 3, 3. And then even receiving, he's got 1 receiving touchdown. But that's crazy. He's got 15 touchdowns in 5 games. The man's a beast. He's their cheat code. When we look at other leaders there, we got Richardson and Martin with 6. And then we have a group of them with 5 rushing touchdowns. So about 1 a game for each of these guys. Receiving, we've got Wallace, Gordon, Beckham Jr., Antonio Brown, Olsen, and Calvin Johnson Jr. That's 6 that have over 400 receiving yards already. Then we've got touchdown leaders being Josh Gordon, Calvin Johnson Jr., and Demaryius Thomas. So all teams that are really performing well, all with some top receivers. Wallace, Bryant, Meacham, and Torrey Smith have 4. When we go to defense, let's look at our sack leaders real quick. Well, tackle leaders is Mathieu, Southward, Wagner, Mays, and then tied for 5th is Jabril Wilson, the veteran, and William Moore. Sack leaders Von Miller, Timmons, Everett Brown are above 5. Atucho, Mingo, and Melton above 4. And Rucker and Pierre-Paul with 3.5. Interceptions, Eric Berry, Amos, Wilson, McManus, Thomas, Antonio Cromartie, and then Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, all with 3 and above. Deflections, why not? I want to see deflections. Kason has the most, so good for him. Forced fumbles, we've got several guys here with 2. We got a bunch of 1 for recoveries. 2 blocks, Bostic and Moore. No safety, so that's good on my offense. A few defensive touchdowns. When we look at, we're not going to look at kicking, but we are going to look at kick returning. And we've had a good number of kick return touchdowns. That's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we have 11 kick return touchdowns. And Archer had 2 in the same game. And we've had 1 punt return by Sammy Watkins. That was a touchdown. So yeah, this is the recap here. Now we can look at the awards for the past week. Chris Johnson, who ran for 245 rushing yards and 3 TDs. Yep, that will get you Player of the Week. And Matthew Stafford getting 342 passing yards and 5 touchdowns in their loss. Crazy game for him, but that makes sense, I guess. Matt Elam gets 6 tackles, so that's impressive. And then we have Robinson with a touchdown and 2 interceptions. Good for the Saints. But yeah, so this is the week 6. We've got a lot of interesting games coming up, some interesting moves. So hope you enjoy this update. Again, we are in season 14 of the 32-team franchise. Looking forward to seeing you in the next video.